Okay. Good evening, members, officers and members of the public watching online. Welcome to today's council meeting. I'm Councillor Chris Arbron and I'm the council's chairman, and I will be chairing this evening's meeting. This meeting is being live streamed on the council's YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch it at a later date. Please could members note that an additional agenda item has been submitted for consideration at this evening's meeting in relation to local authority meetings. This will be considered under agenda item 10, any other business. So now can I ask Guy to take a roll call of all members present this evening? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. If you could just indicate that you're present at the meeting. Councillor Barrett.
Present.
Councillor Brockbank.
Present.
Councillor Brown.
I'm here.
Councillor Foster.
Yeah.
Councillor Hanley.
Present.
Councillor Harbrun.
Present.
Councillor Heseltine.
Present, sir.
Thank you. Councillor Holt.
Present.
Councillor Ireton.
Present.
Councillor Jackwin.
Present.
Councillor Liz.
Present.
Councillor Madeley.
Can I offer his apologies? Thank you. Late apologies from Councillor Madeley.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mercer has offered his apologies as well. Councillor Metcalfe.
Yes, present.
Councillor Morby.
Present.
Councillor Morell. Not at the moment. Councillor Mulligan.
Present.
Councillor Myers.
Present.
Councillor Noland.
Present.
Councillor Place.
Present.
Councillor Pringle.
Present.
Councillor Rose.
Present.
Councillor Shuttleworth.
Present.
Councillor Soloway.
Present.
Councillor Staveley.
Present.
Councillor Sutcliffe.
Present.
Councillor Wheeler. Just come back to Councillor Wheeler because I think he's just joining us.
Okay.
Councillor Whitaker.
Present.
And if we just allow Councillor Wheeler one moment because he's just joining the meeting at the
No
moment.
problem at all.
Councillor Wheeler, we're just undertaking the roll call of members' attendance. If you could just indicate that you're present at the meeting, please.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor Wheeler, would you just like to mute yourself and let's indicate that you're present at the meeting? I think you may have muted. Oh,
Yeah, sorry, it may drop out, but yes.
okay. Thank you
Present
very much.
for the moment.
Thank you very
Thank you
much,
very
Councillor
much.
Wheeler.
Thank you very much, Guy. That puts us on to item number 1 on the agenda, which is the apologies for absence. Now, we know that Councillor Madeley has already tendered his apologies. Are there anybody else, Guy?
And just Councillor Mercer as well.
Councillor Mercer. Thank you very much indeed. Right, members, can I have a mover? I'll move this one. Can I have a seconder for the council minutes held on the 15th of April 2021?
Yeah, please to second that, Chairman.
Okay. Okay, unless there's any objections from members, I will move these as a correct record. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Right, item number 3, Guy, public participation. Do we have any members of the public wishing to be involved this evening?
There are no members of the public wishing to speak this evening.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. In that case, go on to item number 4, which is the declarations of interest members. Does anybody have any? Nobody's indicating to speak. In that case, I will move on to item number 5, recommendations for confirmation. Members, we have minutes for the Standards Committee for confirmation Once these have been moved and seconded, I will ask members if they wish to debate each minute in turn, and if there's no debate, we will move on to the vote on that particular minute. Councillor Ireton, could you please move the recommendations for the Standard Committee meeting held on the 10th of March 2021 and set out in the report? Thank you.
Right, thank you, Chairman. Yes, the updated code of conduct was sent to all members on the 11th of March. And I would like to move the recommendation before you this evening. The Standards Committee members were pleased to note that any reference to the gender had also been removed to ensure the document was inclusive. That was received very well by all members of the Standards Committee. And I move the minute, Chairman. STN 381. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Ireton. Would that be seconded by anybody?
Yeah, I can second that, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Metcalfe. Thank you very much indeed. Does any member wish to debate STN 381, the Members' Code of Conduct? Okay, nobody's indicating to speak. So in that case, Guy, could we? Would you prefer a roll call on this one, Guy?
Yeah, if we could take a quick roll call.
Okay.
So could indicate whether they wish to vote for, against, or abstain. So starting with Councillor Barrett.
For.
Councillor Brockbank.
For.
Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Foster.
For.
Councillor Handley.
For.
Councillor Harbron.
For.
Councillor Heseltine.
For.
Councillor Hull.
For.
Councillor Ireton.
For.
Councillor Jackwin.
For.
Councillor Liz.
For.
Councillor Maidley. No, Councillor Maidley's giving his apologies. So it's Councillor Mercer. Councillor Metcalfe.
For.
Councillor Morby.
For.
Councillor Morell's not present at the moment. Councillor Mulligan.
Sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Myers.
For.
Councillor Noland.
For.
Councillor Place.
For.
Councillor Pringle.
For.
Councillor Rose.
For.
Councillor Shuttleworth.
For.
Councillor Soloway.
For.
Councillor Staveley.
For.
Councillor Sutcliffe.
For.
Councillor Wheeler.
For.
And Councillor Whitaker.
For.
Very much. It's unanimous.
Thank you very much indeed, Guy. Thank you. Right, that brings us on to item number 6, which is the appointment of an independent person under the Localism Act 2011. The report of the Solicitor of the Council and Monitoring Officer is attached. Councillor Ireton, do you wish to move the recommendations contained in the report?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, I would like to move the recommendation that we extend the term of office of independent person, Mr. John Humphrey, to the annual council meeting on the 2023. I would also like to take this opportunity of thanking Mr. Humphrey for accepting the extension of office and all the work that he's done. Very valuable work that the independent person do to the Standards Committee. And with that, I move the recommendation, Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Ireton. Thank you. Could I ask for a seconder on this one, please?
I'll second it.
Councillor Metcalfe, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Annette, do you wish to add anything to the report?
Nothing to add to my report, Chairman.
Okay. Does any member wish to debate the item? There doesn't appear to be anybody indicated to speak. Councillor Soloway. Andy.
I'd just like to echo what Councillor Ireton has said. The service that John Humphrey has given to Standards Committee, I wholeheartedly support us reappointing him and look forward to carrying on working with him.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Right, in that case, Guy, could we please undertake a vote on the item? Oh,
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairman. If you could indicate whether you wish to vote for, against, or abstain. Councillor Barrett,
For.
Councillor Brockbank,
For.
Councillor Brown,
For.
Councillor Foster,
For.
Councillor Hanley,
For.
Councillor Harbron,
for.
Councillor Heseltine,
For.
Councillor Hull,
For.
Councillor Ireton,
For.
Councillor Jackwin,
For.
Councillor Liz,
For.
Councillor Metcalfe,
For.
Councillor Morby,
For.
Councillor Mulligan,
For.
Councillor Myers,
For.
Councillor Noland,
For.
Councillor Place,
For.
Councillor Pringle,
For.
Councillor Rose,
For.
Councillor Shuttleworth,
For.
Councillor Soloway,
For.
Councillor Staveley,
For.
Councillor Sutcliffe,
For.
Councillor Wheeler,
For.
and Councillor Whitaker.
For.
Thank you. That's unanimous.
Right, thank you very much indeed, Guy. Thank you. Thank you, members. Councillor Holloway, are you wishing to say anything? I've just noticed that your hand button's still on. Okay, thank you. Right, members, that nicely puts us on to item number 7. Statement from the Leader of the Council. Councillor Foster, do you wish to make a statement?
As usual, I'll try and keep it brief for you, Chair. Thank you. The consultation period's obviously over for local government reform. It's a great case of thank you to the members of the public who've responded and to members of this council as well. I know some people have put very detailed responses into that. And we look like we're going to find out sort of mid to end of July when there'll be an announcement on it as to what, if anything, is going to happen. So we'll wait and see on that one. The other thing I really wanted to say, I normally say this time of year, is sort of, good luck with the elections, but we haven't actually got any sitting members who are going out for elections, but just been by-elections. So it's a case of I'll see all of you again in May, and we're going to have two additional people back on the council, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And like I say, good luck to the political parties, should I say, instead. And on that note, I think I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much indeed, Leader. Thank you. Would any member wish to ask a question of the Leader on the report? Statement, should I say? No, nobody's indicating to speak. Brilliant. Okay. In that case, that nicely leads us on to item number 8, statements from lead members and chairmen of committees. I understand we may have one or two of these. Does any lead member wish to make a statement?
Yes, Chairman.
Yes, please, Chairman.
Okay, I've got Councillor Mulligan, I've got Councillor Myers, and I've got Councillor Metcalfe in that order. Councillor Mulligan.
Oh, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I'll just be very brief. I just wanted to mention that we've now sort of concluded the last financial year. We are doing budget monitoring for the entire year and for the fourth quarter, and we will be bringing a report to Policy Committee. But at this point, it does look like we will have had an underspend. I can't say exactly how much, but that is good news. And I would also say that at this point, I mean, there's so many uncertainties ahead of us, but we are in a more stable position than we were last year. What we sort of need to happen is for the roadmap to go ahead, that things get freed up in June, and then hopefully our revenue streams will increase proportionately. So I've got my fingers crossed. I think we've managed well in spite of a very difficult year last year, and I'm hopeful that as things get back to normal, we will pick up where we left off. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Mulligan. Thank you. All right, Councillor Myers has indicated he'd like to speak, and I've also got Councillor Jackwin that's added his name to the collection. Councillor Myers.
Thank you, Chairman. I will try and match the brevity of Councillor Mulligan and the leader. Simply to say that, as many of you will know, the Town Hall and the museum are nearing completion, and we hope they'll be open on the 21st June, soft opening. I know a number of councillors have been round and have been suitably impressed. I urge all councillors to get hold of Danielle and go and have a look at what we've amazing. I know that Councillor Brown has asked a question with regard to Engine Shed Lane and the contingency that council voted for earlier in the year. I'd just like to say, but I know Paul Ellis will be answering that question, but well done to the officers for all their hard work in making sure that as little extra money from will be required. It's not without dangers in the future, but they've done a fantastic job in accelerating the whole process. And just a third thing, Chairman, last time we had an extraordinary general meeting, we remembered, of course, the life of service of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, and it didn't seem appropriate at the same time to just reflect on another great political life that was ended in April, that of Baroness Williams of Crosby, a different political animal to myself, with beliefs on certainly some issues, but what a life of service to this country, to politics, to the cause of women in politics, really a remarkable achievement. So I just wanted to mention that it's an example to all of us of the service to the public.
Thank you very much, Councillor Myers. I think I tend to agree with you on that one. I did have an indication from Councillor Jackwin. Now, bearing in mind Councillor Jackwin isn't a lead member, perhaps you wanted to ask a question of Councillor Mulligan's. So I'll bring you in now, Councillor Jackwin, if that's okay, and then we'll do Councillor Metcalfe after this.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mulligan expected an underspend on this year's budget. Can I just inquire of him whether he's any intention to reinstate services which have been diminished, curtailed, or not? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Jackwin, for the question. Really not my decision to do such a thing. That would have to come from the leadership. I would say that we're not out of the woods yet by any means, and so I'd be very cautious going forward because we can't predict what sort of support we'll get from the government, how well our revenue will recover, etc. So I would be approaching this very cautiously and very prudently. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Mulligan. Thank you. Right. I've got Councillor Soloway. Are you wanting to add on to Councillor Jackwin's question? No. Okay, well, I'll bring in Councillor Metcalfe and then I'll go to Councillor Soloway. Okay, Councillor Metcalfe.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to keep it very brief and to the point. Just want to say thank you to members for getting back to me regarding any training. A number of training programmes have actually gone ahead. One for some for planning, coaching training, equality training, and there will be a second equality training for anybody who missed the first one, and also for new members. And also we've had some interest in Heritage Action Zone, and there will be an update. I've spoken to David Smurthwaite, and there will be an update on that at some point in time for those members that are interested. That's it. So thank you very much, and feed any other training interests back to me if you've got any. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Metcalfe. Councillor Soloway, did you wish to speak or? No.
Yes, please, Chairman. It was just a quick question to
Yeah.
Councillor Myers regarding the town hall, and just would he agree that it's well worth members going, visiting if they can? We can arrange COVID secure visits. But secondly, my full appreciation, would he agree with me that having one of the very few fully accessible toilets in the town hall is a really, really positive step for Skipton and Craven? Absolutely brilliant that that's been included in the plans, and very impressed with the town hall. Please go and see it. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Chris Rose.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to echo what Councillor Soloway has said, particularly with respect to, it did at times feel a bit scary, the huge sums of money involved. But if anybody has any concerns at all about how that money has been spent, go and see it. It is absolutely stunning. The museum particularly is second to none, absolutely top notch. And the hall itself has been restored in an absolutely splendid manner. So any concerns anybody may have had about the money, go and see it. As Councillor Soloway has said, a COVID secure visit can be arranged. And to be honest, Danielle Daglan and her team really do appreciate the visits, because they've worked non-stop throughout the lockdown, etc. They really have worked their socks off and appreciate any form of appreciation. I'm not speaking very clearly now, but basically, you know, the work that's being done is phenomenal, and they deserve major, major credit for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Rose, thank you very much indeed. Right, there seems to be an absence of members wishing to contribute further, so I will move on to section B of this agenda item. Does the chairman of the select committee wish to make a statement?
Thank you, Chair. Well, seeing as I'm here, might as well.
Yeah.
Just bear with me, I'll pull it up. Yeah, just report the meeting on the 14th of April. The select committee was taking a report on the customer service standards across the council, something that I know can be a source of frustration for residents and members alike. I think it was clear that there were shortcomings at this moment in time with our standards, or the maintaining of standards, but clearly there was a lot of work already underway to which the officers should be given credit for, as we look to address this in with a customer service charter that's suitable for the modern age. Quite clearly, once upon a time, people just tended to pick up the phone or come into the office, and that's very much not the case anymore. So we've they gave us a look at a draft proposal, which looked quite, quite conclusive in the way it would deal with this, and gave, I think, on the generally speaking, for the members of select committee, I think we felt take some comfort from that going forward, and look forward to its adoption. So, any questions, members?
Thank you very much, Councillor Staveley. Members, does anybody wish to ask Councillor Staveley a question? It should got off lightly, Councillor Staveley. Okay, right. Anybody like to? Any of the other chairmen of committees would like to make a statement? Sorry. Okay. No. Councillor Myers. Councillor Myers.
Another one in the spirit of brevity. Just to thank members of the licensing committee and the licensing manager and his team, and our legal officers for their work on enforcing the COVID regulations in licensed premises. Craven. We have had to deal with a number of issues. They're not easy decisions, because at the end of the day, it affects people. The members have really stepped up to the mark. We've made the right decisions on behalf of our residents, and we will continue to the best of our ability to keep residents of Craven safe in the time of pandemic and enforce whatever restrictions are in place. But thanks to the officers, thanks to members, we've been work.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Councillor Myers. In true tradition, does anybody want to ask Councillor Myers a question on his statement? Nope, you got off rightly as well, Councillor Myers. Right, okay. Therefore, we'll go on to item D of this agenda item. Council representatives on outside bodies. Would any representatives on an outside body wish to make a statement? Okay. Right, I'll take that one as a no. That means we can move on to item number 9. Okay. This is the general statement, general question statement time. No notification has been received that Councillor Brown would like to ask a question to the leader of the council. Councillor Brown, would you please ask your question?
Yeah, I just felt that given the criticality of the Engine Shed Lane development and the 31st of March date, it'd be really good if we could have an update on progress on that and how things are going and whether we're likely to hit any more any financial difficulties or whether we're comfortable.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Councillor Brown. I'm aware that I think Councillor Foster, do you want to respond?
I'll give it a go, Chair.
Okay.
In January, we were forecasting about an underspend of 1.4 million against the money we got off the let. And we've worked, the officers have worked tremendously hard on this and brought it down to from 1.4 million. We've spent 1.2 million of that underspend from the let funding. And as a lot of you will have seen, the project is moving on fairly rapidly now. The work in Neville Park should be completed next month. The culverting of Ings Lane is due to start in June. And obviously the other parts. Now, it's not to say there won't be cost overruns, but we are really watching out for those. Both ourselves and WSP are making sure that, you know, Galliford Try, our contractors for this, are working to the costs that we've involved. If I can add that also Langcliffe Quarry, we underwrote that as a council as well, and that has come in on budget. We've got all the let money spent and we're moving that forward as well. So Engine Shed Lane itself, the council waste management depot, the work's also going on that, and we're hoping to be back in by April 2022. So everything's moving forward. We're not asleep on the costs and the potential for cost overruns. We all know how these things can escalate very quickly, but we're confident we've got a good business case there and they won't, and we appear to be operating within budgets as it stands. So all being well, Councillor Brown, I'm quite confident that we've got a scheme away. We've got maximised our let funding out, you know, this scheme and the other scheme. And at the moment, the waste management team are working out off Airedale Business Park quite well as well. You know, they're happy there until they get the new state-of-the-art offices. So all being well, good move by the council. Thanks to members for passing this and moving it forward. And we are really seeing some progress now after a lot of years of trying to sort out this particular problem for the council and the residents of Craven. So yeah, rest assured, we're not taking our finger off the pulse just because that deadline's passed. There's all the other deadlines.
Thank you very much, Leader. Councillor Brown, are you happy or satisfied with the response that you've been received?
Very helpful and full response. Just if I could ask one follow-up, is there still any line of sight to the possibility of doing the industrial units?
We're continuing to look for sources of funding through government pots as and when they come out, and as soon as we get a pot that we can pitch into, we will be doing it. It was always originally part of the development and still will be.
Thank you very much. Okay. Would any other member wish to ask a question on that answer, or can we wrap it up for the agenda item? I think we can wrap it up for the agenda item. Okay, that brings us on to item number 10 then, members. If you remember at the start of the meeting, we did place an additional agenda item onto the agenda. And the report of the Chief Executive in relation to local authority meetings is attached. Councillor Foster, do you wish to move the recommendations?
I nearly did the unmute thing, and you had to be told. We've done pretty well tonight without having to say mute and unmute. The legal challenge is still going on as to whether we can or cannot meet virtually, which is going to make it awkward for the council as we move forward. Trying to find a building that's big enough to keep us all 2 meters apart with officers and 30 members for our AGM is not going to be easy. Needless to say, both Annette and her team and the Chief Exec have been working on how we can operate or could operate. And the recommendations really are here that, you know, the government decided in their wisdom not to extend the regulations. So as it stands, we'll have to find alternative arrangements until we can meet closer together. Social distancing laws apply unless the legal challenge is successful. If the legal challenge is successful, then we'll look to keeping doing the virtual meetings, but we'll bring something back to members so we can have a grown-up discussion about what we do virtually, what we do face to face, and whether that varies between committees or we just meet up full council. I think that needs to be members and members of committees decide how they're best meeting for those in real terms. But we'll cross that bridge when we know we're allowed to cross that bridge. But in the meantime, it's an update saying that until we know better, but members will be kept in the loop. So I'll move 2.1 and 2.2 of the recommendations and leave it at that.
I'll second them, Chair.
Councillor Myers, thank you very much, Councillor Myers. That's a seconder. Paul, do you wish to add anything to the reports?
No, Chairman, the leader summed it up very nicely. We have to wait for the legal challenge to wend its way through the court. We're told it will be a quick decision, but how quick in legal terms that means, we're not actually quite sure. We are putting the plan B, we're preparing a plan B just in case the legal challenge falls.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Thank you very much indeed. I've got Councillor Brown that's indicated to speak. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, just to say, I think one of the interesting phrases in there that Councillor Foster used was "in their wisdom," which is a little difficult to discern at the moment. I mean, given the situation we're in, to be forcing people to meet physically when the technology is perfectly capable of doing what we've done tonight does seem a very strange place to be. It's got implications for also environmental costs. You know, people having to drive to meetings who could. It's got implications for certain people with health issues who might find it easier to attend. I think we all enjoy meeting and value the advantage of meeting physically when we can. It'd be really helpful if we were able to get to a hybrid system with all our meetings so that people were able to access them and vote in the best way appropriate, in the least environmentally costly way appropriate. So I would say going to vote for the paper tonight, but what a strange place to be put in, really unsupportable. So yeah, with this council's decision making, but yeah, that in the wisdom of the government, you've got to look hard for it.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Brown. I've got Councillor Metcalfe. Councillor Metcalfe.
Thank you, Chairman. The one thing that I would say regarding this is that if decisions can be made effectively and efficiently using the tools that we're currently using, is there a need to change that? I can understand why face-to-face meetings would be beneficial at times, but to me, it depends on the necessity. And if meetings haven't been successful, then if the evidence isn't there that proves a lack of success with virtual meetings, then, you know, I could understand it. but I'm not aware of any evidence along those lines. You know, it's just common sense. If it works, continue to use it, but allow councils to have the discretion. That just seems to me to, you know, let's be treated like adults, basically.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Councillor Metcalfe. Yes, absolutely. There is a rule that if the chairman stands up at the meeting, all members have got to be quiet. Very difficult to do that on a Zoom meeting. But anyway, I just can't wait to get back to the council chamber. I really can't wait to see even all of you. Right. Does any other members? I've got Councillor Mulligan, and then I would imagine Councillor Foster will wrap up. Councillor Mulligan.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with the other speakers. I don't understand this diktat we're getting from the government, because clearly the remote meetings have worked during lockdown, and I think it's been a great advance in terms of how we conduct our democracy. It's been more accessible to residents. They can watch the meetings, they can join the meetings, whereas in the past, in talking about nationally, they might have had to drive a long distance to go to a meeting, etc. And I've noticed that at parish councils as well. There's been more participation. It's improved our democracy. I don't understand how the government is saying we have to have face-to-face meetings. I think it's very unfair to certain types of councillors, for example. This is nationally, where you might have a member who has an underlying health concern, hasn't had a second vaccination, is concerned about going to a meeting, even if there is social distancing, and then will get marked down for absence. I mean, that to me is absurd. So I really don't understand. We're supposed to, it seems to me like we're on the frontier of normalization, and we're supposed to be the ones leading the way by having our face-to-face meetings. But it doesn't make any sense, as the previous speaker has said. And there should certainly be a combination of a hybrid of some sort of attendance and coming in electronically for members who might have those concerns, health concerns, etc. So I hope this legal challenge succeeds, because it should be up to this council, as has been mentioned previously, to decide which meetings will be remote and which will be in person.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Mulligan. Thank you very much indeed. Right, I've got quite a few wishing to speak now, which is brilliant. I've got Councillor Myers, Councillor Brockbank, and I've got Councillor Soloway. Now, I know the leaders indicated to speak pretty much earlier on, but you'd probably get your chance to wrap up, wouldn't you, Councillor Foster? Right, Councillor Myers, please. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, just to endorse what other members have said, we've certainly seen an increase in participation by our residents. But apart from considering this item, this council meeting would have taken under 30 minutes. And what would the cost be to the public in members driving down from Bentham, officers coming from wherever, to have a 30-minute meeting? Cost to the council taxpayers, cost to the environment. We've declared a climate change emergency, and thank heavens we have this technology to help us to reduce our carbon emission. But yet again, it's central government feeling they have to interfere in everything. Why are we not the people who determine how we have our meetings? They're not at our meetings. We should determine how we have our meetings. I think it's outrageous and foolish. It doesn't.
Thank you very much, Councillor Myers. Thank you. I've got Councillor Brockbank wishing to speak. Councillor Brockbank.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I'm all in favour of hybrid meetings. As a member for one of the councillors, Bentham, we do have quite a distance to travel, and we're conscious of the costs of that, both environmentally and financially, for the council. However, I'd also like to touch on something else, and that is site visits for planning committee. there's no mention in the document about when we will be able to start having site visits for planning committee, and I'm just I'm wondering if anybody can answer that tonight, please, for us.
Right, thank you very much, Councillor Brockbank.
Chair, if I can help.
Yeah, Paul.
June the 21st is when the COVID regulations could be repealed as a result of the roadmap that we're currently on. It's not a timetable, as government will tell you, this is a roadmap. So once the COVID regulations are repealed, then all the various aspects that go with it will also be repealed. So my conclusion from that would be it will be after June the 21st will be the logical time, unless you're putting in COVID secure meetings prior to that date. And that could be quite onerous in terms of that. And I think safety must always come first for members, officers and members of the public. So I would suggest that you look after June the 21st for any reversion back to those particular site meetings.
Very much indeed, Paul. Thank you. Right, that brings us on to Councillor Soloway, and then possibly Councillor Foster after that to wrap up. But Councillor Soloway, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I mean, I would agree with that, setting the target of the 21st of June. I mean, we've got to remember that we've set budgets, we've started multi-million-pound projects, we've run consultations, contentious planning applications, and we've had a bigger attendance at both licensing and planning committees than we've ever had before. People have taken a very, very active interest in what goes on in council meeting rooms as a result of being able to view it online. In fact, some councils have actually had unwanted attention, notably Handworth Parish Council. So I think rushing us into this is just, it seems, I agree with the speakers really, I don't know why they're trying to force us fully back to physical meetings when we've run some extremely efficient online meetings that we've made some monumental decisions about. I mean, look, we just talked about the town hall before. We've had to make decisions about that. We mustn't forget that a lot of the meetings that go on are not necessarily meetings like us. They're meetings between officers and members, and there's all, you know, there's meetings between lead members and officers. Are we all going to be forced back into that situation again? No. I think we need to, the government need to rethink this one. I hope the appeal against them is successful.
Thank you much indeed, Councillor Tolloway. Councillor Rose, did you put your hand up to speak, or are you? No. Okay, that's fine. Right, brings me on to leader. Councillor Foster.
Yes, Chairman. Yeah, agree with 99% of everything everybody said. There's always somebody who disagrees. I'm not sure of hybrid meetings. I think the people in the room have a far stronger voice than those outside the room who are on the screen. Having watched a few in operation. There's also the case where long meetings are really difficult, I think, on Zoom, where you start looking at the screen for hours and hours and hours and maybe meeting up in person. I do think, you know, we'll go away and have this debate and see and come back and come up with a solution that works for this council. I think there's an opportunity for chairs in consultation with the committee to decide whether one goes in person or online. So if there's a planning committee with one application that's relatively straightforward, that people can say, yeah, let's do that one online, and maybe do one in a room where you've got 3 or 4 really contentious ones on the agenda. Same for policy, sometimes with 3 items, sometimes with 13 or 14. So it might be a case that they're better done in a room with everybody there. But I think we just need that option. We need that choice, and we need to be able to decide when it's sensible to bring members from miles all across the district into an office to have a meeting, when it's sensible to do it online, because we have made some good decisions online. I don't think it's affected the decision-making process. I don't think we made a decision that we shouldn't have done. You know, I do think it works, and it works well, and it's like everybody says, it's visible. So even if we go back to doing live meetings, I think we need to find a way of making sure that those are broadcast live still, even if we're doing in-person meetings, because I do think the public like that and also giving the opportunity for people to join in from offline, and maybe even have officers joining in from offline, as you know, via a screen. I think there's loads of options out there. We need to be able to have a good look at them all. But in the meantime, hopefully we can stay online because this legal challenge works, and then we'll have that conversation and work out what we're going to do with each of the committees post July, whether we want to be in a room or not. So, like I say, members of those committees, I think, are really up to making those decisions, so basing it on them.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Foster. Well, I have it moved and seconded, and no other members that wish indicating to speak. So, Guy, can we undertake to go to the vote?
Thank you very much, Chairman. If you can indicate whether you wish to vote for, against, or abstain. Councillor Barrett.
For.
Councillor Brockbank.
For.
Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Foster.
For.
Councillor Hanley.
For.
Councillor Harbrun.
For.
Councillor Heseltine.
For.
Councillor Hull.
For.
Councillor Ireton.
For.
Councillor Jackwin.
For.
Councillor Liss.
For.
Councillor Metcalfe.
For.
Councillor Morby.
For.
Councillor Mulligan.
For.
Councillor Myers.
For.
Councillor Noland.
For.
Councillor Place.
For.
Councillor Pringle.
For.
Councillor Rose.
For.
Councillor Shuttleworth.
For.
Councillor Soloway.
For.
Councillor Staveley.
For.
Councillor Sutcliffe.
For.
Councillor Wheeler.
For.
And Councillor Whittaker.
For.
Thank you, Chairman. That's unanimous.
Thank you very much indeed, Guy. That brings us on to item number 11. Date and time for next meeting. The next meeting is annual full council, Tuesday, 25th of May, 2021 at 6:30. Right. And in that case, I wish everybody a pleasant trip back home.